Hello and welcome to part 1 of my asset creation guide for Cities Skylines 2. My name is Fragnot and today I want to show you the basics of asset creation, starting with how to use the editor, create your own new asset, and finally how to upload it to PDX mods. In part 2, I will explain more advanced topics regarding editing files outside of the game, show some stuff that I learned during building some of my assets myself, and yeah, try to go a bit more into detail on how to efficiently build big assets like the Cathedral in the background here, or at least in my personal opinion, efficiently, because I got into asset creation myself only 2 months ago. I'm by no means any expert, so if anybody of you watching this has any more knowledge, please leave a comment, correct me if I'm wrong. On screen, you can already see some of my finished assets that I've uploaded already to PDX mods. Left and right are some props from my medieval asset pack. In the middle, the small church from my church asset pack. And in the back, one of my recent assets, the St. Stephen's Cathedral from Vienna. I link all of them down below in the description. There you'll find all additional links and additional info that's needed for this guide. And I will also put in some timestamps so you can jump around single sections like you need it. Okay, now let's have a quick overview of today's topics. At first, we have a look at the necessary and optional mods, and I'll show you my personal playset. Next, I'm going to show you an already finished asset and go a bit into more detail about its properties, what it can do exactly and not do, and also explain the basics of the editor itself. After that, we look at the building blocks of those assets itself. Those are called meshes and their respective render prefabs. And once that is done, we already can start with our first new asset. During that, I'll explain how to customize render prefabs and we'll go into more detail regarding the handling of the editor. And once the asset is finished, I'll show you how to upload it to PDX mods. So point 1 of the list is mods. Here you can see my personal playset. Most of those mods are optional. I just like to use them. Important to keep in mind, keep your playset for asset creation pretty minimal, because the shorter the playset, the shorter the boot up times of the game, and you might want to restart the game quite often, especially during the preparation phase of asset creation. I will link my playset also down below in the description if anybody likes to use it. And yeah, let's talk about the most important mods of that set. Let's start with Anarchy. Most of you probably already know what this mod does. It enables objects to overlap, and also the Anarchy transform log function will be later on pretty important to us. Next mod after Anarchy is Compact Editor. In my opinion, a pretty important mod because it changes the user interface of the editor a bit and provides a far better overview to the prop you're working on right now. Then next comes Move It. I like to use that mod to rotate assets in the editor or just to tidy up the workspace. So then Skyve, I don't think I have to explain Skyve to anyone. StarQ's Workflowkit this mod enables us to upload our asset to BDX mods and time and weather anarchy to make it stop rain in the editor and such things. The remaining mods are nice to have but aren't necessary. So like I said, keep the list short and keep it simple. So, and one last thing regarding mods, we have to install the modding toolchain. So click on Options, Modding, and install the whole toolchain. So now finally, let's talk about the more interesting stuff, asset creation and how we do that. Asset creation right now is a lot like playing with Lego bricks, in the sense that we are using meshes that are already in-game and stack them together to build something big out of them. For example, this church here consists out of a bunch of different UK garden walls, campground shelters, pillars, uh, chimneys, fence pieces, roundabouts, pylons, and so on and so on and so on. And there are a bunch of different ways to stack them together. And yeah, basically that's what I'll explain today in this video. But let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the beginning. You have seen, once I've clicked on this church, this property window opened up, and this is basically the place where all the magic is happening. So let me start explaining this window first, starting from the top. So the first you'll see is what kind of prefab we're working with. This is a static object prefab. There are a bunch of different kind of prefabs available to work with in the editor, but I'm only using static object prefabs. The next line is the name of that asset. That's pretty much self-explanatory. You can type the name of your asset in here. So next up is a list of all used meshes inside this asset. And this isn't just a list, but it's our workspace most of our time here in the editor. Here you can add, copy, and delete meshes, and you can change their positioning and rotation. Basically, this is the place where we build our asset. Then below the list are two text boxes, one for translations of the asset name. When you want to add different translations, you can do this down here. And the other one is for the description and also the localized translations from the description. All right, so next is UI object. This property dictates how your asset will show up in-game down in the user interface. Group dictates the category. In my case, props park, so the park prop category. Priority is for in which place it will show up in this list. Like a 0 will be in the beginning, and the higher the number, the further behind it will be. And the icon is just for the icon of the user interface. Then next, editor asset category override. Basically does the same as UI object, but for the editor menu. And asset pack item, like the German region pack, has its own little icon that will show up down in the user interface, and you can also use as filter. You can do the same for your own packs. I will explain more to that properties once we have to use them. And the last property down here is object sub-objects. With that you can add whole other objects to your asset, like in this church here. The left side is one object, the right side is the same one, just copied over, and this wall is one object, and so on and so on. Yeah, you can pre-build those single parts and then add as a whole to your final asset. All right, then let's start with our first new asset. To do that, we click on Edit Prefab, Create New Prefab, and then a list of all possible available prefab types pops up. But the only one we are going to use is Objects, Static Object Prefab. Now this property window will open up. It's the same kind of window like I was showing you before. Only difference, there aren't any additional properties added yet, and no meshes. So first we are going to change the name. I'll just call this example number 1, and then we are going to save it. I like to use the same name as the asset as the save file. Save. Okay. Now what I like to do is adding at least one mesh to the prefab, just for when I place it down in the map, I have at least one little thing to click on. So I add just one, I don't know, I like UK pillars, and yeah, save it again, and that's it. So once that is done, we are going to place that object. To do that, we click down here on Add Object, search for our example, and then you can already see that one small pillar I've added as mesh, and I placed it down here. Alright, now we have placed our pillar in the map, and now we can start to change the positioning and rotation values. You can see X, Y, and Z. Those are the single axes in the coordination system. X is, from our viewpoint right now, left to right, Y up, down, and Z is back and forth. Rotation is the same, like X-axis. If you rotate around the X-axis, the pillar will lean forwards or backwards, and it's better to show you. Like, I put a positive number in here, it will go to the right, a negative number to the left. Same with Z, positive to the back and negative to the front. And Y is positive up and negative down. Rotation works pretty much the same, but you have to keep in mind the axis you want to rotate it around. Like if you want to rotate around the x-axis, the x-axis is like that, and if you rotate around the axis, the pillar will rotate in this direction. Just to show it to you, I put in 5 degrees, and it slightly tilts around this axis. 10 degrees, 15 degrees, and the same with minus. Same thing with the Z-axis, like this. So if we put in a value into the Z-axis rotation, it will tilt left and right. And finally, the Y-axis, if you put a rotation value in here, it will rotate on this axis. Yeah, and this is basically the whole process of asset creation. You create your prefab, you add meshes, you move those meshes around, rinse and repeat until your asset is finished. Next, I'll add another mesh to the prefab. Alright, so now I've created a small wall piece with pylons and pillars and fence pieces. And as you can see, the pylons still have a wrong color, and the fence pieces have a base property. That means they, as soon as they are above ground, they will have a concrete base, and I don't like that. So how to remove that? To do that, we have to take a look at another toolbox, the workspace toolbox. Those options above aren't really necessary to us, just only if you create whole maps. And down here in the objects, you can expand the list, search for your asset that you want to edit, and for, in our example, example 1. And here I can expand the list even more, and I can see now all single meshes that I have used in this wall piece. So, and just so when we select our fence pieces and wall pylons, you can see they have some different kind of properties. The base properties, one property I want to get rid of, and for the wall pylon, I want to change the color variations from 5 to just 1, and then also change the colors. So how do I do that? I can't change anything on the original vanilla meshes. I have to copy them first, and that I have to do outside of the game. Alright, so now we're outside of the game, and I'll show you how to customize the render prefab files of the meshes we are using. On the left side here, I have opened my streaming data folder of Cities Skylines 2. I link down the description where to find this folder, and on the right side, here is a dump folder, a dump zip file. This dump contains all the render prefab files of the vanilla game, of the base game, and the DLCs. And our North American fence piece is a base game mesh. I'll link the GitHub to the dump also down below in the description, so you can download this. And yeah, now we have to find the render prefab file of the North American fence piece. For that, we open base game, and then we look for the folder render prefabs. So game prefab, render prefab, open it, and in this folder we are looking for our North American fence piece. So we are using number 2, and copy that file over to our streaming data folder. So, and we are doing the same with our wall pylon mesh. It's in the same folder, and copy that also. Then the third mesh we are using is from the UK region pack. It will work a little bit different, so I'll show you later. For now, we just rename both of those files. I just give them a prefix with guide and this one too. And finally, we create a new folder and put our prefab files into this new folder. Okay, now we are jumping back into the game. All right, now back in the game. Before we can use our new files, we have to use StarQ's Workflowkit because those files still need another file to work, and the Workflowkit will provide it for us. So just type in the folder name, in my case example guide, and then click on one of those three buttons. It's not really important which one. I use text format, and now we can leave the game again. And once we open our folder again, we can now see there are 2 additional files in it. So, and once this is done, we go back into the game again. So back in the game, we can click on our fence piece again, expand the meshes again, and then we have to replace those original meshes with those we have copied right now. So for example, I just search for NR fence high 02, and I can see here the original and our copied one with the guide NA at the back. So we choose this one, and for this also. And do the same for the pylons. Okay, save the asset again. And sometimes you have to place them new. So example, place them, what the fuck? Oh yeah, and now you can see one of the many errors you can do. Instead of copying the fence piece prefab, I copied the fence prefab, and yeah, that won't work. So let's do it again. Now I have copied the correct render prefab. Let's see if it works. And okay, yeah, this is the original one, and this is our copied one, the guide one. So, and look, it works. All right. So, now we have that. We can finally customize our fence pieces. For that, we expand our object list again, select our example asset, and then we select our fence piece. And we want to get rid of our base property, so just delete it. And you can see it's gone. All right, and then we have to change the colors of the pylon. Same as before, we click on one of those meshes and have a quick look at the color variations. I think I want to keep this one, so I just delete this here, and the game crashes again. Yeah, I think I know the problem. There are two pieces of wall with the same pylons in it, and sometimes if you try to change the colors, for whatever reason the game crashes. So it would be best practice to keep only one of those copies around, and then the game shouldn't crash again. So let's try it. All right, so pylons are a bit of a special kind. I don't know why, but this happened to me a lot in my Cathedral build. And the only solution is to keep this asset isolated. So delete everything else, keep only this one asset with the pylons in it, and then edit the pylons. Then customize the pylons. Yeah, so select the asset again, select the pylons, and then let's have a look. Yeah, this color variation is what we want to keep. So delete the first one, the last ones, and now we can see the pylons have nearly the same color. Yeah. Next, we can rename those new pieces that we copied so the name matches the prefab file we have copied outside of the game. Just for our case, we add a guide in front of the name, and then it's the same name. Yeah, what next? So and earlier, when we copied the prefab files for the fence pieces, I've mentioned that the region pack meshes are a bit different because for once you have to copy the prefab files regardless if you want to customize them or not. You have always to copy them and to customize them to your liking. And second, there is no dump file available, so you have to unzip your own region packs. That means, yeah, here we are finished. Let's get outside of the game again. All right, so how do you get your region pack files? First step, subscribe to them on PDX mods. In my case, now the UK region pack. Once it's downloaded, you can open Skyve, search for the UK pack, and open the folder. And then we need this file. We copy that file over to streaming data again. And then we have to unzip it. There are two ways. At first, you can download 7-zip and just unzip it. If you don't have 7-zip, you can just rename the pack to zip. And yeah, it works too. You can just unzip it this way. I won't do it this because I have already done this to all my region packs in here. Very, very important, once you have your region packs unpacked in your streaming data folder, deactivate them in Skyve or just unsubscribe from them, because if both versions are activated at the same time, they will interfere with each other and the game won't crash, but the props won't work. Now the only thing left to do is copy the prefab files from our new unpacked region packs. So I'll open the UK pack one and I look for the UK garden wall 01 pillar tall. It's down here somewhere. Pillar 1 mesh dot prefab. We copy that again. Go back to our example guide folder and do the same again. Guide, and open the game again. Back in game, we do the same as before. Open up StarQ's Workflowkit and resave the prefabs again. Because now we have that second file again, and now we can use our new pillar in our asset. Alright, so and just as before with the pylons and fence pieces, we open up that list and we are looking for our guide pillar 1. And 2 and 3. Alright, like that. Save the asset. Maybe rename them again to guide. Alright, so now our fence piece is pretty much finished. Let's have a quick look how it works in game. Nicht New Map, Main Menu, New Game. And now we can open our props menu. Residential. And here is our little fence piece. So before we start with the upload of our asset to PDXmods, one short recap. This is a static object prefab. We are adding meshes to it. If we want to customize those meshes, we have to copy the render prefabs and customize those render prefabs. And then we have to use StarQ's Workflowkit to make those prefabs workable, to give them their second file. And after that, we can add properties to our finished asset, and then it's ready to upload. All right, so then let's do it. Okay, so how to upload our asset to PDXmods? For that, we need StarQ's Workflowkit again. We open the folder, and then we need this exe file here. You need to create a new empty folder somewhere. I have done this in my documents folder, example guide upload. Then we put the exe file in that folder and double click. Now it asks us to create content and properties folders. We say yes, and it opens up a file that I will explain later on. Just close it for now. No, we don't want to publish something right now, and that's it. Now our folder looks like this. We have a properties and a content folder. In the properties folder, there is this configuration file and a dummy thumbnail, and the content folder is where our asset will be placed in to upload. So first things first, we need to prepare our asset folder a bit. In our streaming data folder, we have now two folders. One example one, that is our asset we have built, and this example guide where we saved our prefabs and the zip files. So we have to yes, sorry. So now we have to combine them in one single folder. For example, example fence. So both of those go into the new folder. Then I just copy the name. And then we have to start up the game one last time. And once we are in game, we click on options again, scroll down to StarQ's Workflowkit again. And now our folder is called example fence. I'll resave all prefabs now in binary, important binary, and then we have to pack our prefabs as mod, and this is possible here. You put in the same name from the folder and then click on create package, and if everything is working in your streaming data folder, there should be a created packages folder now, and in it example fence .cock and CID. Now we can leave the game again, switch over to our created packages, copy those files and insert them into our example guide upload folder, into the content folder. So now we can close everything down again. We don't need that, we don't need that. Alright, so now the properties folder, if you open this configuration file, you can see a bunch of stuff. So let me explain from the beginning. Starting on top, the first value we have to insert is the mod ID value. That will always be a 0 for new mods. If your mod is already uploaded, the mod ID will be up here. This is your mod ID. So if you want to update your mods, you have to change out this value from 0 to your real mod ID. Then after that, display name, in my case, fence example don't download. Short description, yeah, blah blah blah. Long description, blah 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 blah. Next is screenshots and thumbnail. If I take one of my published configurations for my medieval asset pack, you can see the values are like this, and here are the screenshots to that. Set 1, 2, 3, 4, and thumbnail, all in the properties folder. After that, tag value, leave this empty, PDX Mods does that on its own. Here you can insert your form link, mod version, and game version. Game version right now is 1.3. So keep it up to date so that the game also know that your mod is up to date. Dependency ID. If your mod has dependencies, like my medieval asset pack has my render prefab pack as dependency and anarchy, then you put in the mod ID values in here and require DLC. If you have used some props from DLCs, you have to enter that in here, but it's also pretty well explained up in the comments. And yeah, if you updated your mod, you can put in here a changelog in here and external links like YouTube or something like this. Now, once this is complete, we can close it again. Control once again if the content is there. Okay. And once you're ready to upload, click on this exe, click Y, and he will upload the mod. So, and finished. Now you can control if a mod is really uploaded. Sometimes it's in here or in here. No. And there is our mod. Yeah, in that case, because it has meshes from the UK asset pack, you have to add as dependency the UK pack. And save. And yes, this is how you upload mods. Yeah, and this is everything you need to know to upload your first own little asset to PDX mods. I'm pretty sure not everything was as clear as I wanted it to be. So if you have questions or anything else, just leave a comment below or hit me up on Discord. And for anything else, and yeah, in the next video, I will explain a bit more about how to create bigger assets and how to use sub-objects while creating bigger assets, how to use geometrical tricks a bit to reduce your workload a bit for bigger assets. And yeah, until next time.